Hi, folks. So, on my channel, somebody was asking about HSP, what it stands for, what are the traits. Maybe, there are things about yourself that you can relate to with the HSP thing. And I did a little bit of research and I thought I'd make this video just dedicated to that subject. And, I'm no expert, I'm not a psychologist. It's just that I have recognized quite a lot of the traits of an HSP in myself. And I know that some people do mention it. And I have done a little bit of research just to delve into the positive aspects of being an HSP. So if you're here watching me, you're likely to be an HSP because I guess like attracts like, doesn't it? So, if you're here, you're probably quite into my energy field or, something that I exude when I speak or, how I am. And maybe it's something that you can relate to. So I looked into where it comes from, and often this HSP thing, how many of you have just been said, oh, you're too sensitive? I know that I've been accused of that so many times in my life. It's not funny. So maybe you've had aspersions cast at you like drama queen or being a whiner or crybaby or overly sensitive. And I know I have. And 1 in 5 people are HSP, so it's a very common thing. In 1996, Dr. Elaine N. Aron termed the phrase. So she originated that. So it's quite a recent term, although it's probably existed throughout time. It's an inherent biological condition. And some people have to process information on a much deeper level. So, it's whether we're in an environment, watching a film, reading a book, it's like, or in a conversation, it's like we have to process it on quite a deep level. Sometimes we have to sort of pull away from it to absorb it. I mean, I'm finding that, it's a week after I've been to a festival and I'm still processing what happened there and how it was and all of that. So I think sort of time in our caves, as it were, or in our homes, it's good for us to have time alone to process. So HSPs can think with greater and feel with greater intensity. Some people might call us intense. And we tend to prefer that one-on-one conversations because there's less to process. And, sometimes when it's a lot of people together, conversations can get quite shallow and a bit scattered as well. It's difficult sometimes. We're quite emotionally vulnerable people generally. And as a result of that, we find it quite hard sometimes to love and respect ourselves. And sometimes we can be seen as a bit without ego or a little bit too giving and a little bit too caring and considerate. I want to talk a bit about the countless advantages of HSP, which I didn't realize when I first discovered that a lot of this label applies to me. So sometimes we can feel overwhelmed by thinking so deeply, but that can also spill out into, writing, art, and expression. It can be a gift. Being soft-hearted and compassionate, I believe, in quite a hard, harsh world towards others and animals is a gift. Caring for others, showing kindness and gentleness towards people we meet, that is a gift, and hopefully that has an impact and an effect on others. Also, we have a self-awareness, generally speaking. We're thoughtful, introspective about ourselves and others. So, we know what we think, we process, we find that time to do it. We need that time, actually. And I'm finding having this channel a brilliant outlet because, I'm not only just keeping it to myself, all these feelings, I'm sharing them. So we tend to be a bit on the empathic side of things. So empaths are not quite what HSPs are, but they've got a lot of the same qualities. So we tend to be more empathic. We have sensitivity to others, and they often just go hand in hand. And also, we're generally empaths, but it doesn't go without saying that an empath is an HSP, but they do cross over a lot. So it's all about feeling. Our feeling world is very rich, and we live in our own feeling world, but we also understand when others are feeling down or feeling something. It's almost like we can feel it ourselves, or if we're in a room with someone who's suffering, I don't know, a sore leg, we might start feeling the sore leg. And this often happens to me when I'm in a doctor's waiting room or some public place. I'll just start feeling how the person next to me feels. It's also called, I think it's mirroring in psychology. I did start a psychology degree, by the way, but I didn't actually finish it. Maybe it's something I'll go back to a bit later. It's something that does really interest me. So sometimes it can make it easier to relate to others around us. We're a bit like sponges or magnets for people who want to talk and express things. So that can also be a little bit of a hindrance when you're a good listener and you draw people to you because you're listening fully. You can have a natural intuition when you're listening. You can understand things deeply, and you pick up the characteristics of the person speaking to you. So often HSPs can make wonderful partners, wonderful friends, wonderful, family members, because they can just see that a little bit deeper. They tend to be good mediators, good with conflict resolution skills. And also we do seek to maintain a positive, harmonious relationships with others. We hate conflict of any kind. But ironically, sometimes we do provoke it. And I've noticed that with myself. Being quite soft and open can also encourage other, I don't know whether it's entities, spirits, or whether people invade my energy field, but I do often end up with conflict around me, and it's what I absolutely hate the most. So there must be some kind of lessons in that. So creativity is often associated with HSP. So if you're a very creative person, you're very likely to be an HSP as well. Often they're visionaries with a rich inner life of their own. And we have the negative and the positive emotions. It's not just all like plain sailing and wonderful and romantic, although we do tend to be quite romantic people, quite old-fashioned. We can be passionate, and our romanticism can sometimes be a problem. We want, the sort of archetypal romance, the roses, the soft lighting, Anyway, I'm speaking from my point of view. But we love to live authentically and wholeheartedly, pouring out our heart and soul into everything that we do. So anything we do, we try and do it well. Like today, I set a little plant up behind me and got the microphone going. I even brushed my hair. Wow, you've probably never seen my hair look this neat. Anyway, I'm trying to just tidy up my act a little bit. So as I mentioned, we do also tend to have strong integrity, a strong sense of right and wrong. If you look at the Lucy Letby case, a lot of the people attracted to that and standing up for Lucy, they're likely to be highly sensitives, like the people in the Consortium of Misfits, of which I belong. And I really recommend it. It's a fantastic group. Check it out if you haven't done. And they are really uncomfortable. We feel uncomfortable with aggression of any sort around us. And we value justice and standing up for justice. Myself with the World Heritage Site, against the council here in Glastonbury, and then others, standing for justice in Palestine, like Tim on the Consortium channel. It's a very important part of who we are. We like to live life to the fullest. We like to be present in the moment, go at our own pace. Often we go at a slower pace. I even speak quite slowly. I've noticed on some YouTube channels, people speak really, really fast, especially, I'm the Generation X, and the younger ones, Generation Y, I think it is, that they tend to speak a lot faster. They're working at a faster pace. And basically, being an HSP doesn't have to be a weakness. Although when I have mentioned it to people who are non-HSP, they tend to roll their eyes, and it doesn't always receive a great response. So it's really nice to be able to talk about it and just unravel it a little bit here. I might well look into it in greater depth in another video, but I'm just really touching the surface of it on this one. So really, we need to see it as a gift, because often HSPs are gentle and kind, nurturing, compassionate, spirited, and creative. So let's just find new appreciation for ourselves as being a gift to the world, because that's actually what we are. And it's taken me a long time, maybe 58 years, to get to this point of saying, actually, I have something to share with the world. So thank you for being on that journey with me. If you're here, you're likely to be an HSP, and I'd love to hear your experiences as well. Maybe this is a conversation we can continue at a later date as well. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Lots of love.